morning. It's Friday morning. It's actually just before 6:30 in the morning, and I'm actually getting ready to leave. I woke up this morning at 4:30. I intended to exercise, but last night, as I was contemplating or thinking about, the fact that I need to reset and re-get myself together, I went to bed thinking like, should I wake up to exercise that early, or should I wake up to go into work a little bit early? And actually I woke up at 5. I snoozed until like 10 minutes to 5. So I'm going in early today because I just need some time in my classroom where it's going to be quiet and uninterrupted. And for the most part, the only way to guarantee yourself that is to get to work early before people are on campus, because even during your prep and after school, like invariably the phone's going to ring or someone's going to come in or whatever the case may be. And I just need to get my mind back to where I need it to be now that I'm pushing the drama behind me. So I'm getting ready to go. I'm going to go to Starbucks and get a nice coffee. I don't know if I'm going to be able to vlog in the car anymore, because once I updated my phone, now when I film in the car and my car is on, because my car has CarPlay, whatever it's called, like it'll record, but it will record without any sound. And I haven't figured out what I need to do to change that, or if it's even possible to change it. But I kind of miss vlogging in the car because it's efficient. But I'm going to get my Starbucks and get to school. So I'm going to show you my outfit. Just making sure the dogs are situated. Hold on. Nothing special at all to report. It's Jersey Day. This is the last day of Red Ribbon Week, and it's like team up against drugs or something along those lines. So I'm wearing this Kobe Bryant jersey that I've had for a while that just says Mamba on the back. It says his name on the back. And I'm wearing these are called my rally overalls now. These are some very oversized black overalls that I got from Amazon earlier this year for our first rally, which is for 6th grade, and we always wear all black. And I just know on rally days I need to be comfortable, so I wore these. It's very handy because it has this big old pocket here and it has pockets there, so I just put it on with this because I want it to be comfortable. And I'm wearing my yellow checkered bands that people always seem to enjoy. As far as my accessories, these are some cheap beauty supply earrings that cost probably $4. I'm wearing my Warby Parker frames. I just put on a gold ring from Ana Luisa, and my Apple Watch. I used to switch out the bands on my Apple Watch when I was young and had energy like that. I don't anymore. But yeah, that's what I'm wearing. And now I'm headed to Starbucks. So I will talk to you later on, probably during my prep, but talk to you soon. So I'm in my classroom and I'm checking in earlier than I thought. I'm not on my prep period, but one of the other reasons I miss vlogging in the car is because that's when I would do my little Starbucks taste test and give you guys a rating. And that's not important information that you guys need, but it's just something that I did, and some of you seem just as invested in my ratings as I was. So I got my Starbucks. I haven't tasted it yet, so I'm gonna do that with you in just a second. But the other reason why I decided to immediately log on is because I have to report to you what happened to me in the car on the way to Starbucks. And that is, yesterday when I was driving, actually when I was in the drive-thru of Starbucks, I'm sitting in the drive-thru, my window is rolled down because I'm about to say I'm here to pick up my mobile order. And as I'm getting ready to say that, a moth flies into my car. Now, I don't know that I've ever shared this little tidbit about myself, but I am frightened of moths. I just don't like them. And like, when I say frightened, I truly am frightened. Like, oh man, I left that gift that the student gave me. Frightened. I don't like them. I panic when they're around. So imagine my panic when I'm sitting in a car and a moth flies in the car, and I'm pretty sure its wing fluttered on my forehead at one point. So of course I tried to shoo it out, but then it like flew down into the dashboard, and I tried to like shoo it out of there somehow, but it wouldn't come out. So I thought, well, maybe it flew down in this little crevice of my dashboard that I have, where I know once something goes down there, it's not coming back. And I learned that last summer when I was at my mom's apartment complex, and she gave me her parking permit, and I thought I was gonna put the permit on the dashboard, and that permit promptly fell down that little crack in my dashboard, never to be seen again. So I thought maybe that's where the moth went. And that kind of eased my mind, because I thought, well, now it's gonna just fly out of the car, it's gonna die down there. So I didn't think about it again until this morning when I'm driving to Starbucks, and what starts fluttering around my face in the car with the windows rolled up? The moth. Trying to escape the car. And when I tell you, I was in there battling for my life. It sounds dramatic, but that's how I felt. I felt like it was a life or death situation. It was me versus a moth. And I was shooing and driving and screaming all at the same time. So I'm sure if someone were next to me and it was daylight outside, I would have looked crazy. And I think it flew out the window, because in the midst of me like panicking, I rolled down both windows, and I think it flew out the window. But again, I was mid panicking and not really clear of mind and seeing, so I don't know. So the moth could still be in there, and it also maybe isn't in there, and me not knowing exactly where it is not what I want for me. But I don't know where it is. So that all happened since last you saw me, and that's been the last 20 minutes or so. But let's do a taste test of my drink. I'm gonna give it a 9. I got the iced coffee. I didn't get the vanilla sweet cream cold brew. I got the iced coffee that I normally get, which mimics a cold brew, but is more expensive, because sometimes the cold brews are hit and miss. And honestly, even the iced coffees lately have been a little hit and miss, but this one's pretty good. So I do need to get to work now. I just had to share that life update with you guys, and I'm gonna calm down, do some work, and I'll talk to you later.
Disregard, they're working on the emergency line. Please disregard that alarm.
I don't know if you heard that, but we just had a fire alarm go off. And because I'm so busy, I just thought that's...
You disregard the alarm, and also there might be 2 more alarms to follow, so please disregard those also. Thank you.
I'm so busy that I thought, surely that's just a false alarm. I didn't even make a move. And rightfully so, because they're working on it. But I was gonna check in and let you know what I've accomplished in the little bit of time that I've had. I think I've been working for about 30 to 40 minutes. What was I in the middle of doing? Maybe I should complete this thought before I talk some more. First, I was just straightening up. Like, there were just little piles everywhere, and if there's one thing I hate is like just little piles all over the place. And by little, they're really little, like, but I could be very type A. So I had to clean some stuff up. I got that done. Last night when I was at home, I was going to make a quiz based off of a brain pop video that we watched yesterday in class, because I didn't see a printable version of the quiz, which is what I would have normally used in the past. And luckily I was just too tired to do it, so I thought I'll just do it in the morning, which is one of the reasons why I came in early, because I knew I was going to need to make a quiz using a Google form. And then I just started looking at brain pop some more, and I thought that would be crazy if there's just no way for me to just assign the quiz digitally. And there was, it just looked different. So luckily, so many people use Google Classroom now that it's just like an automatic integration with a lot of different sites, including brain pop, which I appreciate. So I saved myself some time. I found the quiz. It's loaded up on their Google Classroom page. And speaking of brain pop, I'm a little sad because last year we had to choose between, what is all this on my keyboard? Getting a brain pop subscription and getting a vocabulary subscription. And I am always in the minority, and I always vote for vocabulary because I just think it's more current. It has a lot more to offer. It's more relevant to the age group. And I'm always outvoted, I think, primarily because a lot of people don't know exactly all that Vocabulary has to offer. And I'm not sponsored by Vocabulary in any way, shape, or form, because if I was, I would have a Vocabulary account. Aren't aware of what it has to offer, and some teachers are really uncomfortable with real things being taught in real ways. And there are some lessons that Vocabulary offers that doesn't really sugarcoat certain things, which is obviously something I appreciate about it. So that's been a loss this year. We don't have the weekend wrap. That was something I used every week last year. So I'm having to just accept the fact that I have brain pop, which there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, how much of that robot do people want to see? But I found something that was useful yesterday. So that's loaded. So my plan is, in the near future, they have to write an original narrative, which is my least favorite type of writing, because those stories go off into these wild and crazy places, and they a lot of times aren't following a true story format. So I showed a plot mapping video on Brain Pop yesterday, and we watched it twice, once yesterday and once the day before. Then we read a short story that I got on Common Lit called Click Clack Rattle Bag, which I read for Halloween time, which is actually, I enjoyed the little story. And my goal is, as we're working towards them writing their own story, we're going to be plot mapping this story and highlighting different parts of this story, such as the protagonist, the antagonist, how dialogue was written, what are the different parts of the plot map, so that they constantly have this as a reference tool to look at. But I'm also going to give them this quiz to kind of let them know you do need to know these things. So I got that loaded on Google Classroom, and that's what we're doing in language arts today, and they're turning in their Greek and Latin root packet today. And then we have our town hall meeting. So I accomplished all of that and checked all my emails and getting ready for leadership. And there was something else that I was going to tell you I did, but I can't remember. But I'm feeling at least prepared for the day. So it's been productive, but that's all I really had to say, is that's what I've accomplished. So bye for now. I remembered what it was. I wanted to say I also need to make a seating chart. So I'm going to try and get that done. I'm not going to get it done in the next 5 minutes, but I should have it done by my 4th period class, which is when like the real core part of the day starts. And to make my seating charts, I always use this Kagan software that I've had for years. It's a little dated in the sense that you had to load a CD onto the computer to get it done, but you initially start by making a class list and you add student information. You can add student scores, like iReady data, you could add their grades, anything that you want so that you can create mixed ability groups. Oh my gosh. So that's what I'm going to be using. And what's nice about it is it only takes a few minutes. But that's what I'm going to do.
Please disregard the test.
And I really hope they stop these tests by the time school starts, because to have students in class with these just randomly going off is not going to make for a good Friday. So I'm going to go, but I'm going to make a seating chart also. Hi, it's Robinson. Well, it's Friday. I really hope that's done by 7:55. Because that's going to be fun with the kids being like, oh my God, like. Yeah. Like, what time it? Yeah. They're like, oh, okay. Well, you gotta ask. Society. I know. I know. That's the easiest access. I know. but it is Friday. I was wondering, is there a way to get a cumulative GPA report for every student in my class, or would I have to open each student individually and look at their transcript? Which I guess wouldn't take that long, but because I want to create seating charts based on GPAs, like, yeah, so that like in one group there's like kids, higher functioning kids in general, and that can support the lower functioning, and I want it based on GPAs because that really shows like who's doing the work and who's not. Yes. Okay, thank you, bye. So I decided, because Taylor went to a Kagan training, and the Kagan instructor was telling her when you're trying to create mixed ability groups, it's probably better to go off classroom performance in terms of like their grades in the class, as opposed to like iReady scores or state testing scores, because sometimes those are just skewed and not valid, especially iReady scores, because we know good and well there's some kids that just rush through iReady for whatever reason. Or even there's kids that score really high on iReady but don't function well in class, like they just don't complete assignments for whatever the reason may be. So for the purpose of groupings in class, you want, at least I want, a mixed ability group where there's a good mix of students, so that if I give them an assignment, that mix of students will have enough productive kids in it, or enough of a mix of personalities and work ethics that ultimately the assignment or project will be completed. So I just called the secretary to see if there's a way to run a transcript list for my class instead of going in to look at each individual student's transcript, and she's gonna see if she can. And school's starting with that going on. So fingers crossed that she can do that. If not, I'm gonna have to go in one student at a time, which is gonna slow me down. And if this is any indication how the Friday is gonna go.
Teachers and students, please disregard. This is a test. Thank you.
It's gonna be an interesting Friday. We're getting ready for the town hall meeting. I'm vlogging. And I give them 5 minutes or so to get ready. They don't know who's presenting. I mean, they can assume it's not going to be the person that did it last time, but they get 5 minutes, and then I just at the last minute tell them who's presenting, so they all know that everybody needs to be prepared. And then they come up here, and then the kids that are not presenting have to ask questions at some point or somehow interact with the town hall process. And I have a pile of costumes that I put on them. So these are all the costumes. So they just wear pieces of these. There's wigs.
So if you could like compare quarter
and it takes about 30 minutes. So yeah, it is. So they have about 4 minutes left, and then I try and speak in a British accent for most of the time. So that's what we're doing.
Moving on to the topic of its repeal, I believe it is unfair because the tax on tea still remains. To keep such an important item such as tea taxed is absolutely outrageous. Lastly, I believe that the court decisions relating to the Boston Massacre were fair. Because the soldiers were defending themselves against the aggressive and radical
I mean, I do have one question, and my question would be, Really, how aggressive can a snowball get when fighting against a bullet?
It's not gonna kill you.
Well, it was not only snowballs, but verbal accusations and very hurtful things that were being said.
So the words were hurting your feelings.
It was not hurting my feelings. So just put yourself in their shoes,
I'm not
okay?
gonna start shooting at you.
I will shoot at you.
I agree.
So they were feeling that their lives were in danger, so that's why they did.
Their lives were in danger from a snowball.
It was not only snowballs.
I'm sorry, order in the community. The Earl of Effingham has spoken. I just question how frightened they were. But we must hear from others. Thank you, Earl of Effingham. I'd like to now hear from Peter Van Scheck.
I, Peter Van Scheck, stand in this war as a loyalist, and in my own opinion, I think the Boston Massacre was justified and the Townshend Acts were fair, because the Townshend Acts were only made to help England remake more money after the war, and the Boston Massacre was justified because the British soldiers were antagonized and felt that their lives were in danger.
Your lives were in danger by
Order in the community, quite clearly, ladies and gentlemen, snowballs are scary things.
What, you disagree with that?
I'm saying from their point of view. Order. Peter is a loyalist, right? Thank you, Peter.
What about the Townshend Act?
What about the Townshend Act?
What about other acts?
Mercy has nothing to say. Order. She is not the queen. How disrespectful to our queen.
Which one is she?
Okay. Quiet, please. Order in the community. You are scheduled to have a lunch break in about 15 minutes. But we shan't have lunch unless we hear from everybody. Shan't.
A level 2 word.
Yes. Next, I'd like to hear from Thomas Jefferson.
Hello, citizens. I, Thomas Jefferson, a patriot, believe that we must rebel against the British. They have been completely unjust to us, taxing us without representation in the Townshend Act, just like the Stamp Act. But even after it was repealed, they still kept a tax on our glorious tea. Also, troops killed multiple innocent defensive citizens in the Boston Massacre over snowballs. Unjustly, which is why we should rebel.
Thank you, Thomas. A very impassioned speech.
I like that.
Next, I'd like to hear from John Adams. John Adams.
While I do believe that the Townshend Acts were unfair, I do have to agree with the Earl, because I think that while the Boston Massacre's deaths were unjust, they were not unwarranted. The Bostonians were harassing the soldiers to provoke them to shoot. Not as an act of defiance, but yet an act of self-defense. While yes, the colonists were reasonably upset, and I understand, the Townshend Acts were completely unreasonable and to an extent where it was unneeded. It did not need to provoke such a reaction from the soldiers. I'm here to uphold the law, I'm here to uphold the law, though I do believe that we should have a say in taxation.
Are you a patriot, a loyalist, or a neutralist?
I'm a patriot.
A patriot. A patriot.
Beautiful speech. So you're a patriot.
A patriot. Yes.
A patriot justifying.
Well, Thomas Jefferson does not feel as though the violence is warranted, is what I'm hearing. Not all patriots are violent people.
Most of them are.
Oh, excuse us, Earl. Excuse us. How judgmental.
Tell him, Earl.
Okay. It's probably about 5 o'clock now, just before 5 o'clock. I'm getting ready to go home. I just made a little list for myself of what would the most organized Latanya be doing to prepare for next week. And I'm gonna work on those things. I think I'm in a constant balance of what do I need to do to manage workload, manage stress levels, feel a little bit more balanced, which is something I'm in a perpetual state of working on. And one of the things I'm learning through therapy is if you've been doing something a certain way for so long, it's gonna take a while for you to figure out how to undo the negative parts of that or the parts that were not serving you well, which is where I'm at. So I've tinkered with like when did I feel the most balance, and I truly feel like I felt like the most balance, and my battery's gonna die, when I committed to, okay, do everything you feel like you need to do to feel good about starting the next week on Friday, and then let it go on the weekends. And so that's my goal. So that is what I'm gonna be trying to do. Luckily, what I thought I had to do is not as much as I thought. I thought I was gonna have a much longer list than what I just created. And so that's good. But I just need to gather my thoughts. And so that's what I'm gonna do. So I made a list. I cleaned off my desk. That's also something that's important to me that I feel like I need to walk into the next day. And that's done. One of the other things that came from my last therapy session was the therapist always asked, or not always, she has asked me on more than one occasion, what are things you do just to take care of you? That it's purely to take care of you and it's not like a task or something you feel like you have to do. So she has challenged me every day to do one thing for myself, and it could be as little as like, I drank enough water today. Or I don't know, just like little things that it's just purely to take care of me. And so clearly you can see I can't even generate a list of what that would be because I don't really live in that space. A lot of what I do is very task-based, where it's things that I feel like I need to do or have to do, but not just to do because I want to. So I think to keep myself accountable, when I vlog, when I'm gonna end it, I'm gonna tell you something I did for me today that was just for me. And I'm gonna encourage you to do the same if you tend to overwork yourself like I do. So when I really think about it, and I don't know if this counts because I do it all the time, but I don't know. And I don't think there's any rules. That's my other problem, is I always have rules. So something that I did that was just for me was I decided to reach out to a few parents that I've worked with over the years that have always been very supportive, and I just sent them a message of gratitude, thanking them for being as supportive and caring and kind as they've been, because it's those parents that help me get through the times that I've been dealing with the current parent group that I'm dealing with, like that small population of parents that I'm dealing with this year. And although that was a message I sent to someone else, I did it for me because it made me. All right, sure enough, that battery died, so I just had to replace the battery. But I think the last thing I was saying is that I decided on the way to work, I sent those parents a message of gratitude. And although the message was for them, it really was for me to just take a moment and remind myself that you do have families that have appreciated you and enjoy working with you to the point where they've kept in touch with you over the years and have requested to have their other children in your class and do little gestures for you. Like one of them got me a little Halloween bucket. And so I have to remember that. So I did that for myself. And I also, this sounds like it's not that great, but it's something that I did that I feel like made me feel better today, is I woke up this morning and allowed myself to say, I'm not gonna wake up to exercise. I'm gonna wake up to go in to work and just be able to create a quiet environment for me to work in. So that's what I'm saying I did for me. And you guys are gonna have to keep me accountable, because as you can see, even when I pick something to say that I did for myself, I have like these unspoken rules that I've somehow established, where it has to be non-work related, and it has to be this, and it has to be that. And really that wasn't what the therapist said. She just said, just think of something that you do for yourself to make yourself feel better. And if those are the things that make me feel better today, then that's what I'm gonna say. So I sent out a message to some parents and expressed gratitude, which made me feel better. And I decided to skip a workout to come in to work earlier so I can work in a little bit more peace and feel like I can gather my thoughts now that I am mentally and emotionally putting that parent negativity behind me. So as far as the rest of the day went, I got a little footage of the town hall meeting with one of my classes. I probably will use the footage, but of course it's just an image of the ceiling, and you can hear us talking because I don't have permission to have all those students on camera. But as you can hear, hopefully we have a good time. It's fun, but it's also educational. Like, the kids have to be able to say certain things and make certain points, and I really enjoy it. My homeroom class is definitely much more fired up about it. To be honest with you, my switch class, we're gonna have to do it on Monday because we couldn't quite get ourselves together enough to get it done today, so we're gonna have to adjust there. And they took the brain pop quiz. I just entered those scores, and I'm sure some of them were disappointed by their scores, and I kind of am okay with that, because when some of them were watching that video, not once, not twice, they were just tuning it out. And even when I said you could take notes on this, and who knows, you might be able to use the notes on the quiz tomorrow, and you definitely are going to need the notes when you are writing your own story, some of them chose to take notes and some of them didn't. And from my memory, the kids that I saw taking notes did much better on the quiz than the kids that did not take notes. So that is what we did in language arts. So I'm getting ready to go home, walk the dogs, put on some pajamas. I'm gonna do some work from home, which is okay, because I'm just gonna do what I need to do this evening and then free my mind up for this weekend. I might vlog over the weekend just so that, you know, you're not only getting work vlogs, but also just see like random things that I do on the weekend. But it just depends on how I feel. So for today, if you enjoyed today's vlog, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, please make sure you do subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I do truly enjoy seeing them and responding to them and or acknowledging them. And as always, I hope that you are well. And if you are not well, please be well. And I will see you guys in the next vlog. Bye.